I'm practicing to take the BU Fundamentals Exam. This video is about a drill that appears in that exam. This is today's drill. On the right-hand side are instructions for setting it up. I'm going to show you my first attempt at the drill. I'm going to show you some practicing that I did to identify weaknesses and make some improvements. And then I'm going to show you my final attempt. At the end, I'll discuss some lessons learned and some things that I need to work on. And with that being said, let's get to my garage. Okay, this is my first attempt at this drill. Notice that I'm using an open bridge for all these shots here. In the practice session that follows, and also in the final attempt that I'm going to do, I actually changed from an open bridge to a closed bridge. I'll discuss that in more detail when I get to the lessons learned section, but more on that later. So here's how this drill works. So basically I set up an object ball about half a diamond away from the corner pocket. And then what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to draw the cue ball back and have it come to rest within that little rectangle on the table there that's been outlined by the two adhesive dots right there. And so that's basically the drill. And you start out with cue ball at cue ball position 4, which is directly in front of the side pocket. For every successful shot that I have, I move the cue ball to the left, 1 diamond. So the cue ball can travel from position 4 to 5, 6, and 7. So the position I'm shooting from right now is position 7. That's the furthest that you'll move to the left. And you can see the scoring below. Anytime you make a shot from position 7, you get a bonus point. And I'm showing that here with the little green circle. So I'm not doing too bad here. It's actually pretty good, I guess. But just wait. All right, last shot. Let's see what happens with the 10 ball here. Oops, hit that a little hard, didn't I? Oops. Oh well, got an 8. That's not too bad. Let's get to practice. Okay, let's talk about practice. This is the practice session that will haunt me for a very long time. Wait, stop the video. I think it's time for a little truth in advertising here. When I shot the first 3 videos of this series, here's what I did. I would warm up for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'd shoot the drill as if I were taking the exam. And then after that, I would shoot a little practice session where I might shoot 10 shots from each cue ball position just to, practice the different aspects of the drill. And then I'd take about a 5 or 10 minute break, and I'd come back and I'd shoot the drill one last time just to see if there was any improvement. And that's basically what I did in the first 3 videos. That did not happen in this video. What you are about to see here is, I think, it's probably the 4th practice session that I did after my first attempt. I wanted to show you this though, because, I do terribly. But it's the struggles that you have on the table that really reveal your weaknesses, and it creates an opportunity for you to learn and improve. So I'll talk more about that in the lessons learned section of this video. But for now, let's watch the carnage. Okay, start the video again. Okay, here's my shooting from cue ball position 4, which is right in front of the side pocket. I think I actually do pretty okay from position 4. But it's when I get to cue ball position 5 that you're going to see 2 or 3 shots where the cue ball, after contacting the object ball, comes all the way across the width of the table. Now that can only happen if I'm not hitting the object ball squarely, and that's a harbinger of bad things to come. Speaking of bad things, let's talk about my performance from cue ball position 6. This is where the wheels come off. I'll talk more about this in the lessons learned part of this video. It turns out there were several issues going on here that were causing me to have a bunch of misses. Position 6 was brutal. And now position 7. Around the third shot from position 7, I finally realized one of the things that was causing me to miss so many shots. I was rushing through my pre-shot routine. I corrected this, but it only marginally improved my performance because there were still a few other things going on that I also needed to correct. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, here's the final attempt. I took a break after that disastrous practice session, mainly just to rest and clear my head. And, I was really frustrated at that point. One change that I decided to keep on from the practice session was the closed bridge that I had switched to. I think it was probably more of an emotional crutch because I didn't really understand why I was shooting so poorly at this point. But I think overall I did okay in the final attempt. I would think I took things a little bit slower. I think I focused more on my pre-shot routine. Obviously, you can tell from my practice session, I've got a few things I need to work on. So I'm just going to let you continue watching this last attempt, and then we'll do a bunch of discussion in the lessons learned section. I think in every video that I've done, I always miss the last shot. Let's see if I can correct that today. Nope, I guess not. Lessons learned. Before sharing with you what my issues were, I want to talk just a little bit in general about ways to improve your game. There are a handful of ways to do this. One way is to simply just play more. That's what most people do. They play more to get better. This is a valid approach if all you really want to do is get just a little bit better than the average person that walks in off the street. The danger in this approach is that you could be learning and reinforcing bad habits. And to address that, that's where structured practice comes along. Now, structured practice is a much more efficient way to improve. It allows you to isolate and work on specific skills. And that's basically what I'm doing here with this video series. I'm practicing some very specific skills, and then I'm going back, I'm looking at myself on video and trying to figure out, what are things I need to do to improve. Now, this is a fine approach, but there is a delay between me shooting and then reviewing myself, figuring out what I did wrong, getting back to the table. So that's one drawback. The second drawback to this approach is, have you ever heard the phrase, you don't know what you don't know? Well, when you're practicing, and even while you're reviewing yourself on video, you might be doing things incorrectly, but you might not be aware of that until someone else points it out to you. And when this happens, you're going to be like, oh man, I didn't know that I was doing it the wrong way. Or, hey, I didn't know there was a better way. And I've seen this happen dozens of times in pool rooms. You don't know what you don't know. And that brings us to qualified instruction. If you're really serious about improving, the best way to do it is to get in touch with a qualified instructor who can give you immediate feedback and advice on your technique, your stroke, your stance, etc. It's well worth the money and the time that you would invest. And, case in point, if I had had a live instructor with me during this practice session, they would have immediately pointed out several things that I was doing wrong. And so I could have addressed it immediately instead of coming back and, addressing it hours later. So what's going on here? Here are the issues that I believe were contributing to my misses today. But then again, I don't know what I don't know, right? So these are the issues that I identified both while shooting and then also while just reviewing myself on video. For one, my Q-tip was moving erratically when I was actually trying to address the cue ball. And I think that's partly due to maybe my stance and also my bridge being unstable. I also knew that I was rushing a little bit on the shots. I think that maybe is an artifact of the way I'm doing these practice sessions. I feel like I want to rush through it and get to my second attempt at the exam. So that's part of it, I think. I also was not hitting the object ball squarely. And I think that has to do with the fact that my vision wasn't really centered appropriately. Another thing that really bothered me was the glasses that I'm wearing. They kept sliding off my face. Almost every shot I was readjusting my glasses. So what do I do to address these things? Well, I actually switched to a closed bridge to provide a little more stability, or at least I thought, on the shots. And then I started using a little bit of a longer pause. I would start after I draw back, and then before I actually execute the stroke, I would pause a little bit longer to allow my eyes to adjust to the target. So I'm going to be revisiting my stance, making sure that it's more solid, and also revisiting how I align my vision for the shooting. The last thing is I have actually just received some pool shooting glasses. I actually went and had an optometrist that is also a pool player work with me to actually make some specialized glasses just for me. So I'm hoping that's going to help, both in the vision part and also in not having the glasses slide down my face as I'm shooting. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on. Billiard University was formed in 2012 by Dr. Randy and Dr. Dave, and their goal was to help pool players improve. They do this by providing skill assessment tools and resources that can really help your game. They currently offer 6 different exams for assessing your pool playing ability. But for this video series, I'm just focused on the drills that are associated with Exam 1. There are several benefits of taking the BU exams. For one, you will be able to get a sense of how good of a player you are based on your overall exam scores. Here's an example scale. You can also watch YouTube videos of some of the top pros taking the same exact exams that you can take. And here's a fun thing. Billiard University periodically sponsors contests where you can win money based upon how well you do on the drills. So what are you waiting for? You should also be taking these exams. If you enjoyed this video and want me to make more videos like this, please subscribe. Also hit the like button. Feel free to leave me a comment or a suggestion for future video topics. Stay safe and shoot well.